The Colorado Buffaloes lost a bunch of talent in the secondary, but they are replenishing, and we have one of their talented transfer portal additions on the show today.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Happy Friday. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day for free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And who doesn't love free things? And who doesn't love new Colorado safety, Tawfiq Byard? Tawfiq, I appreciate you for joining the show. Obviously, we've had a busy holiday season. I hope your holidays went well. But you'll be headed to Boulder pretty soon. So let's talk about how you ended up from a Maryland fella to USF to now you're heading over near the West Coast adjacent. You're heading to the mountains. Let's talk about your journey. So let's go your recruitment. What was it like? Was it as you hoped? We'll go high school first. And then let's talk about your play at USF. So go recruitment first. How was that?
Okay. So yeah, coming out of high school, my recruitment, it really wasn't all that.
Okay.
Really wasn't nothing for real. I had a couple offers, Louisville, West Virginia, UConn, South Florida, Ole Miss threw me in there, a couple like a lower level D1 schools, but when it really came down to, only really had about 2-3 schools that I could actually go to. But yeah, it really came down to South Florida, UConn. You know, I love UConn. I love Coach Jim Mora, Coach Hill, DB coach up there, and what they got going on in the program. You know, and then I had committed to Coach Jeff Scott, the old coaching staff at South Florida. And when he got fired, you know, Coach Golish and Coach Orlando, I think I was his first call when he got the job and told me that they want me to stay. They don't want me to, you know, try to find another school, and they're going to keep me for the class. Well, yeah, so just going to South Florida, you know, I felt like it was the best decision for me at that point with defensive coordinator, Coach Shute. You know, he was at Mississippi State. He had a lot of good defenses, a lot of good safety, Jonathan Abram, and guys like that was up there at Mississippi State. So, you know, that was big for me, you know, because I wanted to play in the NFL type defense and an NFL, you know, coach who got some experience to coach NFL guys.
Yeah, and I think something you said at the beginning part when you said you had the offers, but you only had a few that you could commit to. I feel like a lot of people don't realize there's a such thing as committable offers, right? That's kind of like the dark side of college football recruiting, where they'll be like, "Hey, Kevin, I'm offering you a scholarship," and I'm like, "Cool," and then I'm like, "I'm ready to commit," and they're like, "Oh, pump the brakes, buddy! Like, no, pump the brakes. We want to see what happens first, right?" Talk about that a little bit. How difficult is that to deal with?
Yeah, that I actually dealt with that personally with a university. I really wanted to go to this school. You know, the coaches, I went visited there like 3 to 4 times. Like, they kept wanting me to come up there. So, you know, as a high schooler, and you know, you feel the love, you know, because you're young. You look at these universities on TVs on Saturdays, and you know these big time players who went to these universities, and you just see yourself in the uniform playing on the field. So, you know, during that time period, I really wanted to go to this specific university, and you know, I was going up there a lot. And you know, when it came down to like official visits and time to commit, you know, I kind of, you know, told them like, guys, this is where I want to be, and they were kind of like, hold on, you know, we'll let you know. We're waiting to see if another guy's going to commit. If he don't commit, we'll take you. And it was just too much, you know, as a 17 years old or 16-year-old kid during that time who loves football, who his dream is to play college football. That hurt me, you know, because that was where I wanted to go. But yeah, that's a tricky situation. Now that I've been in college, and you know, I don't really pay attention anymore. Everything's just a business. You really just gotta do what's best for you. It's no personal, nothing personal now. Now that I've been in it. But yeah, as a high schooler, that really was something deep.
Yeah, I'm sure it hurt the feelings a little bit, right? Because obviously you have your sights set on it. Let's talk about, great segue, by the way. You said it's about business and you got to do what's best for you. And you had a great year this past season, right? You had 44 tackles, 6.5 tackles for a loss, 2 sacks. You were graded out as a 74 on PFF. So you hit the portal, right? And a lot of schools came coming. I know you had some talks with LSU. I know you had some talks with Washington, and there was a few others in the mix. And let's talk about what stood out to you about Colorado.
It was just really Coach Deion won, and then it's just the atmosphere.
Mhm.
I never been to like the West Coast or the
What's the,
mountain.
what's the furthest west you've been?
Probably, well, outside of Colorado, is Tennessee west.
It's, I
That's probably the
guess,
farthest I've been
for you, I guess.
that way.
I
Like,
live in
unless you
California,
count
so
Texas.
okay. Oh,
Nah,
Texas is
yeah,
too.
yeah. If you count Texas, I've been to Texas a couple times and played there. But
There we go.
yeah, so no, just the atmosphere of Colorado. I love the mountains. That it's funny because when I was in high school, you know, I had a lot of guys in my high school who were D1 recruits, D1 commits. So we always talked about where we wanted to play,
Hmm.
and I always wanted to play for Colorado. And I know you probably won't believe me now, but it was what was the safety name that was real good here? Coach, I think Shadon Brown was
Okay.
the DB coach. Who
Okay.
was what's his name? The safety.
What year are we talking? Let's look it up.
2015, 16. He went
Okay.
to the Seahawks.
Oh, okay. I feel like I know who you're talking about. I'll pull up the set, but keep talking about why you were interested in
Yeah,
Colorado.
yeah.
I'll pull it
That
up.
that he I used to go on YouTube and watch DB highlights, and his highlights used to come up all the time. And I fell in love with Colorado. I fell in love with
Tedrick Thompson.
Yep, Tedrick Thompson. That's what
There
it
we
is. Yep, Tedrick Thompson. I fell in love. We know with his gameplay. I kind of wanted to model myself at him. This is younger. This is like during freshman year, sophomore year during COVID. You just
go. Mhm.
in the house watching. But yeah, I used to want to model my game after him. Watch little stuff that he did. And I just fell in love with Colorado, the mountains, being in the place where you could just focus on you, and
Yep.
that's probably was the biggest thing for me was being in a place where I don't have to worry about nothing. I could just focus on football, focus on what's more important, which is going to the NFL. And I'm gonna have the coaches that's there for me. Coach Rob Livingston, great guy, the defensive coordinator. Me and him, we got along instantly. Just talking
Mhm.
football, talking ball, talking game plans, and talking how stopping future opponents or how they try to stop opponents or stop opponents this year. And then the staff that Coach Deion hired. He always preach about it. My staff, the guys that I hired, and every coach going to say they hired a good staff,
Mhm.
but when you actually, in the program and you're in the facility, the way they treat you, the way they carry themselves, it definitely plays a big part. So
Okay. I wanted to talk about this is my favorite Robert Livingston story, and I wanted to see if you had like a similar experience. So Cameron Simon Craig, who's leaving the program this year because he's obviously out of eligibility, he said that when Livingston came in to Boulder, that he didn't come with a playbook, and he was just like, okay, what are we good at? And that's sort of how they crafted it. So obviously they have Travis Hunter on one end. They had a couple other good corners. So they went man a lot, right? They had a few lockdown corners, and they're like, we're going to let our guys eat. We're going to put them on islands because they're good enough. Did he sort of tell you something similar where it's like, this is what we're going to do based on personnel?
yeah, so it's funny when I was on my visit and it was me and him in his office. He was talking. He was like, "What is it? Like, what do we got to do to get you here?" And I
Okay.
said, "I need to see the playbook." And he was like, "Playbook? We don't have no playbook. We're going to put you in a position to succeed. If you're a guy who could blitz, if you're a guy who could play in space, you're going to do that." And I think that's so important because you see a lot of defenses who they try to fit guys into their defense instead of molding their defense around the players that they have and their skill
Mhm.
sets that they have. So that was another thing with me deciding on going to Colorado was I know I won't be in a position where I'm uncomfortable, and I know I'll only be in positions, or I'll be in positions that help the team based on the game plan. So that definitely was a good thing. Coach Rob Livingston, he's funny. I thought that was funny too when he said that about not having a playbook. We're just gonna put you in a position where you succeed. So yeah,
He's
that's
like,
that's definitely a good one. Yeah.
no playbook, just vibes, right? He's like, we'll just go where the wind takes us. Let's talk about your conversation with Coach Prime. I think that's obviously for a player who's in the secondary. I feel like that's kind of maybe a
Yeah.
dream level
Mhm.
conversation there, and obviously he's going to coach you. So, talk to me about what you guys talked about and what you learned from him, because I've talked to a few guys so far, and they've each taken away one thing from like Coach Prime where they were like shocked by it. So, what was your one thing?
I probably wouldn't say I was shocked by anything. I watched Coach Prime, you know, his videos on YouTube.
Mhm.
I watched the documentary when he played the baseball and the football, the 2-in-1 night. So I already kind of got a vibe where he was like this, or like a
Okay.
like a like a I want to say like a dominant force, but like you feel his presence as he
Gotcha.
walks in the room. But our conversation was good. My dad was there, and him and my brother Kevin Byard, that plays for the Bears. They actually got into it on social media back when my brother had just got in the NFL.
Really?
So I guess so. Coach Prime, he put out a tweet about Tyrann Mathieu being the best safety in the NFL, and then
Okay.
my brother had better stats than him at the time. So
Hmm.
he tweeted, "How can you say that? Just look at the stats." And then Coach Prime tweeted back, something. You're just a fan." So
Damn.
yeah, so they Tennessee Titans, their fans blew it out. They started making T-shirts, just the fan T-shirts, and they was just blowing it out of proportion. So my dad brought it up to Coach Prime. They were laughing about it, saying because my dad is a big fan of Coach Prime, so he was kind of like, it was funny that him and his son was kind of going after it on social media. So,
Yeah.
we were just laughing about that. And then he was just really just wanted to know us, wanted to know my family, wanted to know me. He said, like, when you're not just interviewing us, we're interviewing you too. Like, we're trying to see what you're about. We're trying to see what type of kid that you are, what type of kid that we're bringing in our program. But our conversation, we just talking ball, talking family, what to expect when I get here, what type of guys that they're looking for, what type of leaders that they need in the locker room, and telling me if I do come here, I'm gonna have big shoes to fill with Cam, and the way he led, the way he played with so much passion. So I know I got big shoes to fill, but I wouldn't want to no other way.
I like it. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to be talking about how crazy and hectic the transfer portal is, because obviously I think it's a little, we talked about it on the episode where I messed up right before this, where I had his name misspelled. Great times. We are going to talk about what we talked about before, or how things are in the portal. But first, a quick little break. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel has so many ways to pick up a dub. I love betting on which players will score a touchdown, how many points each team will score. It's thrilling. I look at Derrick Henry. Obviously, King Henry is always good for a touchdown or two. I would stay away from Saquon Barkley this week because he's not going to play. He's not going to be chasing that record. So that's just a note to have. But either way, you can have a lot of fun with FanDuel. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. I'm back with Tawfiq Byard of the USF transfer, now Colorado signee. Tawfiq, let's talk about let's talk about your transfer portal journey. Obviously, a lot of programs came knocking, right? When your name hit the portal, everyone around the country, the ears perked up a little bit, right? Because you're an experienced safety, you have multiple years of eligibility left, and you're proven. And I think that's sort of I won't say a rarity, but it's not very common for someone to have all three, where it's like, okay, this guy has eligibility, but he hasn't played. Okay, this guy has eligibility, he's played, but he's not proven. But you have all three. So talk to me about, was the phone blowing up? What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of crazy. I didn't expect to get the attention that I gotten. Big schools were calling, and it was at first it was crazy, but then I went back to like high school vibes where I was just, oh, this school, this school, I was just getting excited. But then, I had to snap back in reality and really had to lock into like a couple schools where, one, I see myself at, or the defensive scheme, the defensive fit. But yeah, it was crazy. LSU, the Miami, the Georgia, the Penn State, the Washington. They all came calling. But you already got to make a decision for yourself.
Right. Okay, so your brother, obviously you mentioned him a little bit earlier, in the NFL. He's kind of been through, not the transfer portal process because he's old, wasn't around back then.
Yeah.
But was he able to help you navigate this process? Like, do you guys go over film or anything together, in helping you pick a school, or was he kind of just like hands off, you got this?
Yeah, he's kind of more like the hands off. I want you to make a decision for yourself. Because he'd been in college himself, so he knows that. Yeah, I could tell you where to go, but you're going to be the one in that university. You're going to be the one on that campus. So you just got to make the decision for you. He reached out a couple times, asking, but he just wanted me to make a decision for myself.
Got you. Okay. I wanted to ask, and I'm gonna make you think a little bit here. So obviously, you came in your class 2023, correct?
Yeah.
So what was the moment that it clicked for you where you were like, I could do this? Like whether it was just like starting, being a college football player, having NFL potential, whatever it is. What was the specific moment where you were like, oh, this is my path?
All right, so I could give you a long overview life, and then I could give you one from high school.
Perfect.
So Little League, my mom sat me down. She sat me down. She said, "What do you want to do with your life?" And I told her I want to play in the NFL. I want to play football. So the next season, well, the year before that, we had a championship game in
Mhm.
Harrisburg, which is in PA, and we didn't lose. No, we lost, right? But I didn't play because I had my my leg was messed up or something like that, so I didn't play. And then
Mhm.
so all the guys were calling me soft. Coaches was calling me soft. My players, everyone from the county, because and in our area, football is like big, so that's like the only thing that's going on. So they were
Mhm.
calling me soft, calling me, oh, he was scared to play, he was this and that, and I made a vow to myself as how I was like 8, 9 years old, made a vow to myself that won't ever happen again. So right then and there, I knew that I'm doing this and I'm being for real. But I'll say in high school,
Mhm.
so during COVID, we practiced at Bowie State University because
Okay.
our place was shut down for COVID, but we had a scrimmage and I had got ran over. It was my first time starting. I was a sophomore, and this is my first time in. This is the first scrimmage or anything that I have done live with the team. And we
Okay.
had Greg Penn on that team, linebacker LSU, Kevin
Mhm.
Winston, Penn State safety. So I'm the young buck of the group. So I'm trying to prove myself. In the first scrimmage, boom, I get ran over. And that was the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to me. I get ran
Dang.
over, they scored, the offense run on the field cheering. And, and after that practice, Kevin Winston sat me down and he said, don't ever let that happen to you again. Don't what you feel right now, don't ever feel this way again. So ever since then, I've just been coming with a different attitude. And I was like, yeah, I know, I'm taking it all the way. Because I know the attitude and the hard work and the mindset that I had ever since then.
Okay, wow. Calling an 8 or 9-year-old soft, but I guess that's crazy. But
Yeah.
obviously, football in different parts of the country is just like you said. It's life over there, right? So they're like this little. What are you, second grade at that point? Third grade?
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
like
yeah.
this little third grader, soft.
Mm.
That's crazy. So college wise, where was the moment where you kind of felt like you could elevate your game to the next level? Was there a moment during the season, or was it just after the season where you kind of looked back on how you did?
See, I really didn't think I did anything yet in
Okay.
college football. See, I'm probably my biggest critic. I watch film all the time, all day. So all I see in myself is just ways to get better
Okay.
and ways to improve. I mean, I guess you could say after the what game was that we played after the Memphis game. So that Memphis game, we were in the hotel because of the hurricane,
Okay.
and we just everything just felt like I got my process right because I had nothing else to do but to get it right because we were in a hotel for a week. So I was doing everything I needed to do, and ever since that game, I guess you could say I felt more comfortable playing football, like just being back to my regular self. When you're a young guy, you're still trying to figure out, can I do stuff that I did in high school and college? Is it the same? Is the speed different? You don't really know, so you're still trying to figure it out. But I'll
Mhm.
say after that Memphis game is where I think I definitely felt more to myself.
Okay. Interesting. So there was like really was a point where it clicked for you. So that's cool. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like every athlete goes through a point in their life where they either realize like this is for me and I like have more to give, or they're like, this is like this is my peak. And would you say that? Would you agree with that?
I always say you'll have more. I would
Okay.
never say like it's a peak to
Okay.
anything. You can always improve on something. You can always do better on something. So
Okay. So let me rephrase it. I guess every athlete has a point where they are willing to continue, or some of them are just like able to get complacent
oh,
in a way.
oh yeah, 100%. You see that all the time,
Okay.
and especially in college football, is very vividly because in order to be good, you
Mhm.
have to put in the work.
Right.
So guys, they see a little success, they see a little money, they see a little playing time, and they think, cool, I'm good. That's all I want. So they get in this mindset of where it's only about them and they're only going to worry about what they got going on because like you said, the complacency. So, you see that a lot in college football, that you do got some guys who put in the extra work, who take the time and do what needs to be done, to better themselves and to better the team. So you definitely see it both ways.
Is there a point where you think athletes have to realize like you do have to put in that extra work outside of like practice? Like some guys have that gift where it's like they're just really good in high school, or most college athletes are that way, right? Where they're just really good in high school and it's like, okay, I practiced with the team in 7th period, I'm gonna go home, get some Taco Bell or whatever. And then in college it's like, okay, I actually have to go to the field by myself. Like, is there a point where you think some athletes struggle with understanding that?
Oh my God, I couldn't tell you. I mean, like I've seen it a lot, so that's why I'm kind of like everything you just said of guys going to the field, on their own, not wanting to, and is you see a lot of transactional things in
Mm,
college football where okay, we have lifts from 9 to 10 and field work from 12 to 1. They're only going to come in from 9 to 10, 12 to 1, and then go home. And
mm,
then you got the special guys, the Heisman winners, the guys who's all these accolades. Those are the guys who's putting the work in after practice, before practice, who's staying in the training room. That's the big thing, staying in the training room. Because during the football season, your body get beats up, and if you're not healthy, you're no good for no one. So staying in the training room, watching film, doing the extra and the little stuff. That's why you see a lot of guys, who go to the league or have that opportunity. That's why they call it the 1%, because a lot of guys ain't doing it. It's really
mm.
only 1% of guys that's doing it.
Yeah, and I think at every level, your work ethic will be exposed if it's not good enough. Your talent can only get you so far, and I
Yeah.
think that's a tough thing to understand for some people. One last topic on this section. We kind of talked about it on the episode that I messed up. Shout out to me, technology, really good at it. You talked about the transfer portal, and you said something about it being transactional now, and I just thought this was interesting. This isn't really about your journey, but just about your experiences in the portal. Right now, there's over, I think I saw 2,500 ish D1 guys in the portal. And I think a lot of people, a lot of fans, people on the outside are like, oh my gosh, all these guys are chasing a bag. All these guys are chasing clout. They're doing this, they're doing that. Talk to me about the reality of the portal.
So, I hear that a lot too. Guys in the portal, they want to get more money. They don't want to compete. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. But from being in college football from the past 2 years, when the transfer portal really has taken off,
Mhm.
you'll see that 75, 80% of guys are being told to leave. They're being told to hit the transfer portal. The coaches are, leaving or telling them to go. And especially with the new roster cut now, where there's only 105 roster spots, where it used to be 120. So that's going to be even worse as far as that. But yeah, guys are being told to leave. You got some guys who play at a lower level, who balled out, and they want an opportunity at the bigger universities, at the bigger schools to play against better competition. And then you got like some guys who in there for the money grabbers. But most people in the transfer portal are being told that they have to leave, or their situation isn't fitting them. Like maybe home people at home is not healthy. They might have to go home. I've seen that being in, or their family members or something's going on at home where it wouldn't be fair for the rest of their family for them to be so far away from them. It's different situations. It's life. People go through stuff. But 75-80% of people in transport are being told that they have to leave the university.
Yeah, and especially you brought up a great point with the roster cut. I don't think enough people know about that. They're going from 120, like you said, to 105, and not only does that eliminate like the walk-ons most likely, but it eliminates the guys who are sort of those fringe guys where it's like they sit for 2 years and they develop, earn a starting spot, and like those guys are kind of gone now. Where it's just going to be like, okay, you didn't play year one, get out. We need someone who can make an impact right away. So I appreciate you for sharing that tidbit about the transfer portal. We're going to take one final break, and then we're going to talk about Mr. Byard's goals because he has some lofty goals in Boulder, and I love him. This episode of Locked On Buffs is also brought to you by Rocket Money. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about or that you were paying for twice? That definitely happened to me. I signed up for a newspaper subscription for a class like senior of high school. and I checked on Rocket Money, and I had been paying for it ever since. Didn't realize I graduated in 2017. So they were getting quite a bit of money from me, and I was not reading that newspaper. So I had a few subscriptions that I didn't even realize I was paying for, and Rocket Money made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills so you can grow your savings. For me, one of the best examples or best features, is a subscription tracker. I've used it to cancel those services, like I said. I wasn't using it anymore, and I've already saved a ton. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/locked on today. That's rocketmoney.com/locked on. It's me on Tawfiq Byard. Excuse me. It's just want to smush it together there. Tawfiq Byard. We're talking about what to expect. I'm going to read you a quote, and I want you to name this historic figure that said it. I want to win a natty.
Deion.
You.
Oh.
Your goals.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to win a natty. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Trying to win a natty. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Great quote. What? Obviously, that's a big goal for you. That's a big goal for Colorado. They win 9 games this year. Talk about that. Talk about why you feel that's realistic and why that's a possibility.
No, it's a movement. It's a culture that's being built in Boulder and Colorado. And sooner or later, guys are going to see it. Okay, so the perspective, from being outside looking in, the perspective of Colorado, from like I guess from my perspective and guys that was on my team, it's kind of like a flashy program. Not really. They just got Travis Hunter. They just got Shedeur, and they only popping because of Deion. Like that's kind of like the look of it from like I guess from outside colleges looking at Colorado. And then for me, all I seen was opportunity to win. I seen the opportunity to succeed at the highest level, in the Big 12, who just proved that they're one of the best conferences in the country, with the college football playoffs, but Arizona State. So I want to be able to play with the best of the best, and Coach Deion, he's going to get the best recruits. He's going to have the best coaches to help him succeed as well. Because not only do he want all the competitors and all the former football players to tell you, not only who are coaching now, will only tell you that they want their players to succeed, they want to succeed themselves. So they're going to put the guys in place to help them succeed, which is ultimately going to create success for the whole team and the whole program. So I know, Deion's going to bring the guys in, I'm going to do my best to lead and do my best in everything that I can do, in the defense to help. So, yeah, Natty, we coming.
Got you. Cool. I like it. Let's talk about you. You mentioned them, the duo, Travis, Shedeur. How do you think they helped transcend this program? Right. I think obviously Coach Prime brings them in and they ball out. So they had to play well. They didn't just do it off of name power alone. But how do you think they helped transcend this culture in this program?
Oh, they took it all the way. Colorado wouldn't be what it is if it wasn't for Shedeur and Travis. With the way they carry themselves. I don't think Shedeur gets a lot of credit for how he is off the field. Like people just see him as like this, Deion Sanders' son. He got the watches, the chains, the songs. They probably see him like this flashy guy, but from what I'm hearing from coaches and what I've seen a little bit, he's a real leader. He's a real football guy. I'm hearing from coaches that he's in the film room all day, 24/7, and that's that. I know that because that sounds like me. A guy who's always in the film room, a guy who's always putting football first. So I know what type of guy he is from that. So I don't think he gets enough credit for that. Travis, the Heisman winner. It don't get no bigger than that. So yeah, they transcended this program. They made it what it is. They made it cool to come to Colorado.
They made it cool to come to Colorado. I like that. You talked about the Heisman winner a little bit. We're going to talk about replacing him. Obviously, you guys don't play the same position, but you're in the same position group, if you will, secondary. Talk about what you hope to bring to the table as a player and a leader, and then just talk about replacing Travis Hunter.
So replacing Travis Hunter, I don't think there is no replacing Travis Hunter. A guy who could do both offense and defense, and the skill set that he brings. He reminds me of Kevin Winston, safety at Penn State. They kind of have like this thing where they don't get tired. It don't matter what they do. They're the most in shape, so the guys don't get tired. But yeah, there is no replacing Travis Hunter. Guys, the guys that we got now, DJ, Colton, them guys are going to step in and do their thing, do their job. But, just the type of the player he is, the stuff that he brought on and off the field, I don't think there is no replacing, Travis Hunter. But I'm gonna come in, bring the intensity, bring the leadership. I kind of hate like telling people I'm gonna come here and do this and come here and
Mm,
do that because it always, how the universe works. But
yeah.
you're gonna get my best. I'm a guy who's gonna bring it every Saturday or whatever, Sundays, Monday. You know how the schedule is now. We got all these weird weekday days, but
Yeah.
whatever day it is, I'm gonna bring it. I'm be that guy, who starts the game off right, set the tone, and take it all the way.
Yeah. The new schedule's crazy. They're gonna be like, guys, we got a game Wednesday, 8 a.m. Be ready.
Yeah, they
it,
had like a 10 a.m. game or something like that this year. That's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, they had some early gains because the cool thing about Colorado, which you'll experience, is every game you play in will probably
TV.
be on national television.
Yeah,
The problem with that is there's only so many national television time slots to go around. So
yeah.
sometimes you guys get moved around a little bit. Okay, I appreciate you for joining us and talking about your journey and all of this. If you were to have like to describe yourself in one sentence, and you could describe you as a person, you as a player, you as a vibe, if you will. How would you describe yourself to people who don't know you?
I'll say a football guy, really.
A football guy.
And that probably sounds cliche. Everyone probably say, they're football guys, but I probably couldn't tell you anything else that I really like to do or enjoy doing other than playing or watching football. So, yeah,
Okay.
I'm just a football guy, loves to be around his family, loves to be around his teammates, building relationships, and I love to laugh. So that's
Okay.
just me.
Awesome. Mr. Byard, I appreciate you for hopping on. Tell the people where they could find you on social media because obviously NIL is always in play. Maybe they could shoot you a little something, something. Donate to your NIL fund, if you will.
Yeah, Instagram is HAMIBYARD, Hammy Byard. And my Twitter is my last name Byard _ Tawfiq. So, follow that up.
Tawfiq, I appreciate you for joining the show. I appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. And so you don't miss out on a single moment of the coverage because Colorado's going to be doing some big things on this upcoming season. We're excited to talk about it. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you on Monday.